Alright guys, thank you so much. Who's excited for our panel?
Yeah!
This panel is going to crush it, I already know. The panel is by far one of the highlights of the conference. All of these amazing individuals right here have an amazing story. I'm excited to hear some of their nuggets. Like, it's crazy. I feel like the last panel I was at the Strengthen Your World, I feel like it was kind of like people throwing fists of nuggets and like punching me in the stomach. And we actually have a couple of previous panelists here. Amer and Frederico, they crushed it completely last time. So yeah, I'm excited. So the first question is going to be for Neil. Who's your favorite brother?
That's a tough one.
And it's funny because my other brother's here too. But
Many of you know Patches.
yeah,
We're
P Patches.
We're the Jermaine brothers. So, do I stand for these?
Yeah, so stand up and own the stage. Okay?
Yes.
So the first question, introduce yourselves and why you got started in your industry.
All right. Yeah. So, my name is Neil Germain. I'm super excited to be able to share with some of you guys and share a little bit of what I've been through and a little bit about my story. I grew up in Utah, and I spent 9 years in the finance industry, the last 9 years, and then decided to leave it and go all in on full commission sales. And that was a really tough decision. I had some amazing friends that gave me good opportunity to do that without making a ton of money right up front. And yeah, so I just went all in on sales because I knew, and I had some amazing mentors that were telling me how important it was to grow yourself, to invest in yourself. And my story starts, who I am right now starts from not even a year ago, like 9 months ago, when I decided to invest in myself. And it's this whole new paradigm in my life that I'm willing to invest in something that makes sense for my growth, right? I don't care how much it is, I'm going to do it if it makes sense for me. So that's why I'm excited to share, guys.
Hey everybody, my name's Jenna. I've worked with a couple of you.
Hey Jenna.
Hi Jenna. I'm actually one of the graphic designers here with the Next Gen Agency, and a little bit about me and why I decided to start this whole journey with them. I actually worked in the corporate field. I was a struggling mother. I got really tired of, being on somebody else's schedule. I had an admirable job. I worked at the hospital. I actually worked in CVICU, which cardiovascular intensive care unit, for those of you that are like, what is that? Yeah. So I worked with high-end people, but I was paid absolutely nothing. And being a struggling mother, I got tired of that. And I was like, no, this is not the life that I want. I want to design my own life. I want to create the life that I want, that I believe I deserve, and the life that my son deserves to grow up in. So that's actually why I decided to go ahead and join the Next Gen Agency and start working with them through these processes and become who I am today. And many of you have worked with me, and I would say I think I'm a pretty good person for the most part. So that's why I'm here.
Good to meet everybody here. My name's Eric Rosehart. Nice to see all of you guys' faces. I don't know anybody in the room, but hopefully that'll change. Yeah, except you. So I do real estate. My story started, I was actually a baseball player my whole life and got into real estate totally by mistake. I have a cousin who's really good at it, and I was fortunate enough to ask him to get into that when I was 19. After baseball, I really had no idea what I wanted to do. Was very, very competitive and good at it. We won 2 state championships when I was in high school, and loved being competitive and doing sports. And got into sales actually in a gym format. I was working for Orange Theory Fitness, and just fell in love with really the process of sales and people and helping people. And then fortunately got lucky enough to get into real estate and haven't looked back. But it's been awesome to serve and be around people and help people and you know, be able to talk to them 10 years after selling a house to them, and it's been really fun. So excited to be here.
Wow, this is amazing, isn't it? Who's gotten a lot out of this weekend? So far, I have. My name's Heather Whiting. I've met most of you. Hi. So yesterday afternoon, before I left, Travis asked a really great question that really resonated with me. And he said, "Are you willing to be loved?" And that meant so much to me, because when I was 9, I found out I was adopted. And at that very moment in time, what I did not know is I started developing this story in my head that I was unlovable, unworthy, not wanted, because I was given up. And what I didn't know is that I was developing this character in this story, and it was my inner mean girl. Who has one of those? Yeah, she's a bitch. Right? Consistently telling you that you're not good enough, that you're not worthy, that no one's gonna love you, that you can't do anything right. Well, I realized that story was keeping me overweight, in abusive relationships, and walking around with depression, and really stuck. And I really had no purpose. I had no idea what I was supposed to do. And then one day it dawned on me that there has to be something better. There has to be something better. More. Life can't just be shitty all the time, where you're just consistently trying to survive. And so I started rewriting my story, and I started putting myself first and loving myself to the core. And it's funny because Minky, I got a stone from her, and it goes back to why I got started in the industry, and it's desire. And I have a desire to help people pull themselves out of their shit story and rewrite it. Because we all deserve to be loved, to have true happiness, and to not worry about what other people think, and to actually have their own success story. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you so much, guys. Put your hands together for our panel. I'm excited for this next one. I hope you guys have your notebooks ready, because it's going to be some good ones. What is your next gen brand, and what makes your message and business unique?
Oh man. So, I got to jump to about a month ago. No, just over a month ago. I've been dealing with this fear my entire life, and it's the fear of abandonment. Are any of you familiar with fear of abandonment? Yeah. It's something that's ran in my family for generations, and it's something I've really had a tough time with. It's ruined a lot of relationships. I've chased a lot of women away, let me tell you. And it's been just something in my life that's overshadowed everything I've ever done. And I went to an entrepreneurial conference about a month ago, and I met this guy named William Lamb. And I was, after the conference and after everything, I went to this dinner and was just chatting with this guy. He's this multi-millionaire Asian dude, super cool. And he was like, "I really like your energy." I was like, "Thank you, man. Like, yours too." And I was like, "I'm just dealing with this like fear of abandonment." And that week I like downloaded this book. Like, there was this girl that had to take a step back that I was talking to, and which was fine. Logically, I could explain that, but internally, I was like triggered. Right? I thought she was gonna leave me, fear of abandonment. And I was talking to this guy, explaining this, and he's like, "Oh, fear of abandonment. I can clear that in 5 minutes." And I was like, "Bullshit." Number one. Number two, bullshit. Like, I've been dealing with this, my family's been dealing with this, no way, right? And we just keep talking, it's a good conversation. He's trying to go home, he's from Scottsdale actually. And I was in Utah for this event, and he was looking at his phone for Uber, and it had like $45 for an Uber to get to his hotel. And he was giving me little hints, and I was not taking the hint, like showing me his phone and everything. And then after a couple minutes, I was like, "Hey, like I could take you to your hotel." It's like, "Oh, really?" like And so I offered to take him to this hotel. He's like, yeah, sure, that's awesome. And I drive him to the hotel. We're in front of the hotel, and he tells me to put it in the park. Takes me to this altered state, meditative state, and walks me through, based off of gut feelings, like where this initiated, where the fear of abandonment initiated, and completely cleared it from my brain. One moment it was there, my entire life it was there. And that feeling that was there moments before, I couldn't find it. And he's like, where is it? He's asked me, where is it? I was like, well, I'm afraid it'll come back. and he's like, right, well, that's not the same fear. And that blew my mind. Like, if any of you can picture something that has been with you that you hate about yourself, whatever, something that a limitation in your brain that just doesn't let you move forward, and that something like that to be removed in 7 minutes, like, so I was like, okay, man, tell me what to buy, and I'll do it, I'll buy it, right? Number one, and number two, anything in the world is fucking possible. Anything. Like, if you can vision it, if you can see it, then you can do it. If something like that's possible, what isn't, right? So that's my brand. That's what I'm gonna bring to the world. That's what I'm gonna bring to the leaders of this world, and I'm gonna help them to bring it to everybody else.
Good.
So, as a lot of you know, I'm obviously a graphic designer. Something that you guys might not know is I see things differently. Okay, and when I say that, it's not just I, see the color orange different or I see the color yellow different. My dad wanted a son. I was born. Tough luck. I learned how to work on vehicles at a young age, hunting, fishing, you name it. That's what I did. So I got a perspective of life in that direction. And then I hit high school. It's not popular to know how to work on vehicles more than your boyfriend does, so I was obviously not asked that a whole lot. But that gave me yet another perspective on things. Coming into the world as a young woman who didn't know who she was other than daddy's favorite son, it was hard. It was really hard to grow up and start to develop into a woman, to develop into who I really was. And I was so mad at my family for so long. I was like, why did you raise me to be a tomboy? Like, I don't get it. And it wasn't until I got older that I was like, you know what? Thank you, actually. Because now I see things from other points of views. I can see things from Honor's point of view. I can see things from Federico's point of view. I see things different. And one of my buddies actually told me something, and I hope it resonates with you. And if you take anything from this event, I hope you take this one thing, especially the women. I apologize for calling you out. I am guilty of doing this as well. Is worst case scenario. I am a sucker for worst case scenario. I like to run with it as far as I can. Because worst case scenario, if you prep for it, then you're covered. But here's something for you. Let's say my boyfriend doesn't answer his phone. Instantly, oh, he's cheating, for sure. Absolutely. I want you to take and put that into 3 different situations. 1, he's cheating, absolutely. Let's go worst case scenario. Second one, maybe he doesn't have service. That doesn't really sound fun, but it could happen. Or 3, his phone's just not charged. And I want you to take these 3 different situations, these 3 different ideas, and I want you to pick the one that fits you best, the one that doesn't hurt as much. And I promise you, I know this, 90% of the time, that's the right one. And then it'll bring your entire energy and everything else down. So if you leave with anything today from me, I hope you leave with that.
So the question was, what is your question?
Yeah,
Clear?
what is your next gen brand and what makes your message and business unique?
Okay. So my brand started when I just got into real estate. I was 18, but I looked like I was 12. And not even my mom or aunt trusted me to sell their house. So, I had my work cut out for me. So I was going door to door. I was calling anybody that had a phone number. I was going business to business, and I was doing whatever it took. So my brand is Mr. Whatever It Takes. That's how it started. And it was interesting. So I was in a call center for 3 years, and I followed Grant Cardone and listened to all of his books and just immersed myself in sales. And when I got in to becoming a licensed agent, I was like, well, how do I get people to trust me? Like, how do I get people to even talk to me? So I was doing whatever it took every day, and that's what's kind of catapulted my success, is just going balls to the wall and not necessarily taking no for an answer, but finding knocking on as many doors as it's going to take, and not worrying about the no's, and taking the mindset that, hey, it's going to take 40 or 50 people a day to talk to get that one person who's going to give you a shot. And that's been the one thing every day that I look at. What makes my brand different? I think the biggest thing for me that's been, it's just like literally not taking failure and looking at it from a mindset that, hey, just because you went 0 for 40 today doesn't mean you can't be 1 for 41. And looking at that one win as, hey, if you get 1 for 41 in my world, you're rich. Like, you do great. It's like the same mindset as baseball. You go 3 for 10, you're in the Hall of Fame. And so taking that into not only real estate but in life, and looking at, hey, just because you had a bad day today doesn't mean tomorrow's going to be awesome. So just really shifting my mindset and taking that into the whole aspect of my life.
So next gen really means innovative, results faster, quicker, in different ways. Moving on from the past, but so many of us are still stuck there. That story, right? And Travis has done a great job of leading up to this for me, so thank you. I think we all are conditioned to play so small, and we've made it okay to live a mediocre life. And next gen means moving past that, moving past our limiting beliefs, our self-doubts. But that requires a different version of you. It's kind of like when you get an upgrade on your phone. Who ignores those for like the longest time? Because you're like, oh my God, everything's gonna change, right? We all know this, and so you don't do it. But I really want you to ask yourself a question is, are you ignoring that upgrade in your life that's been calling you to do it, but you're just afraid of the change? Because everything's gonna get rearranged, but then eventually you get used to it, right? After you use your phone a couple times. And so what makes me and my brand unique is I really bring the authenticity out in my clients. And when you think of being authentic, you think it's being honest with yourself, but actually the Latin root to that is author. And that means I give my clients the opportunity to take the pen back and to write the story their way that serves them, that's actually gonna let them be impactful in the world and write a success story for themselves.
Thanks, panelists. You guys are crushing it so far. What do you guys think so far of our panel? The next question is, what coaches, mentors, or people have inspired you in creating your brand?
Okay, so I'm first going to go over my mentors. And it was first 9 months ago, right, when I invested in myself and in a mentor. 3 years before that, I had, just a little bit backstory, I had invested in a real estate education, and I was married, and my marriage went to shit, like almost immediately after, just started to go downhill, and didn't really get a chance to use all of that education that I just purchased. And so it was really hard for me 9 months ago to invest in myself again. And this mentor, I went and I spoke with him. I was like, I know this guy's gonna try to sell me, so perfect. I'm gonna go talk to him, ask him his opinion, right? And he helped me through it. It wasn't a sell at all. It was just, like, what do you want, right? His name's Kevin Karchner, amazing guy. He taught me to go into sales and to invest in myself with sales. I invested in sales and I left my Morgan Stanley job, started doing sales full time, and Roger Comstock is the mentor there. He's made a huge difference in my life. William Lamb is the one that completely cleared the fear of abandonment, and I purchased a coaching from him, and I have a coach now who cleared something else from my brain, and I learned the tool of loving myself, and it is the most powerful tool that I could ever have behind my back, because it doesn't matter who leaves me, it doesn't matter what happens to me in the world. What matters is that I have the power to choose to love myself right now, right here and right now. And that's the most powerful thing. But I want to tell you guys, the most important people in my life aren't my mentors as much as I love them, and I will always be friends with them. And it's the people around me that I love that have gone through hell, and I want to help those people, right? And I want to help the leaders of those people. And if I can help the leaders of those people, if I can help, imagine if I can be in the room full of 1,000 leaders and I can give them a little bit of hope that the limitation that they're dealing with, as many followers as they have, that the limitation that they're dealing with is just something, a small mental block that can be freed, and I have the power to do that. I have the power to free that. Then I can help those leaders and all of the hundreds of thousands of followers that they have. So that's the answer to that question. Thanks, guys.
Oh, Lord. So my first mentors and coaches were actually going to be my parents. And it wasn't that they taught me what to do, but I had a first row seat of what not to do with my life, what not to do with my family, what I didn't want to get into, all of those things, how I did not want to raise my son. So I do have to give them credit for that, and I do know that they did the best that they could with what they had at that time. So do not discredit your parents for situations that you went through prior. They did the best they could. My second is going to be my amazing fiance. I was in a relationship prior to him, and it was horrible. I was with a very narcissistic person, all the way to the point where my breaking point was him telling me he was going to kill my son's dad, and he was going to kill my son. Give you a little bit of context of how bad it was. I wanted nothing to do with men. Funny twist, the girl he was sleeping around with actually became one of my really good friends. She went behind my back, started up an online profile on Hinge, and was like, hey, here's the password. There's good guys out there. And I started talking to this guy. And he actually decided, I was not bad. I was not broken. But in my eyes, I was totally broken because my ex told me I was. So he loved me through all my problems, all my traumas, all that negative energy that I had had. He broke through all of those walls. Then we started to kind of struggle a little bit financially and things like that. And I have a horse. I love my horse. I've had my horse for 16 years. Okay, most kids or most of your children should not be 16, and if they are, you still look phenomenal, and you don't look like you have a 16-year-old. But to put it in context, that'd be like your child. I got so low and depressed that I almost sold my horse. And actually, him and another person were like, you need to go ride him one more time. Just one more. Just go ride him one more time, and it'll be fine. And then you can decide if you want to sell him. Fine, I will go ride my horse one more time, but I'm not changing my mind. I can't afford him. I don't ride him. So I go and I'm working my horse and everything, and this little beautiful blonde comes running up. She's like, hi, you have a horse too? Me and my girlfriend, we actually brushed your horse the other day. Are you talking to me? And she's like, yeah, we go riding all the time. Do you want to go tomorrow? Well, sure. I would love to. She's like, okay, cool. Yeah, and we exchanged phone numbers and stuff. I ran home that day. I was like, oh my God. You'll never guess what happened. I was like, I met a girl. And he was like, what? I was like, and she was hanging out with me. And he was like, really? Yeah. I was like, I don't understand it. She came up to me, and she wants to go riding with me. He's like, well, you have to go riding now. You can't sell Apollo. Well, that wasn't the plan. And so we ended up becoming friends. And then after that friends, she became my mentor. And then she started to break me out of the shell just a little bit more that I was already in. And showing me, you know what? You're actually really badass. You can work on all these cars. You can build all of these spaces. She goes, I got something for you. She goes, why don't you do graphic design? Well, I don't know, let's try it. Why not? So I did. And lo and behold, here I am. I do still have my horse. He is still available. Not for sale. But we do have clients that come out and we do have clients that ride. I mean, it just changed the entire trajectory of my entire life. Travis is another one. Anybody that's worked with Travis, there are days. And if you've worked with Travis, you know what days I'm talking about. But those days are the most growth I've ever gone through. And I will tell you that right now, because you have to match your wall with the same amount of trajectory to break that wall. And Travis does that for me. He 100% does. He's like, Jenna, you're fucking up. What are you doing? I'm like, well, you're right. My bad. So those are probably my biggest mentors in my life today.
Geez. So I have a lot of mentors. I've always been taught that if you want to accomplish something, go find someone who has what you want or has done what you want to go set out to do. So I have a mentor for just about everything in my world, whether it's work or money or mindset or trying to be happier, and that's been a huge thing for me because I've been always like the kind of guy that if I know what to do, I can go take action, but if I don't know what the actual book looks like or the plan looks like, I have no path. So I've always dug into mentors, and you know, I'm kind of confused by the question. Can you maybe like help me out here a little bit? Like I know the mentors are important, but what are you looking for?
Yeah, no worries. You're good, man. You're crushing it. So what coaches, mentors, or people have inspired you?
Inspired me. Well, so my mentor Brian is my business coach, and you know, he's inspired me to, you know, grow a team and help new people in real estate and, you know, grow myself and continue to, you know, go to these types of events and, you know, get better personally. You know, my wife is here in the back. She's been a huge mentor for me in my mindset. There's been lots of situations where I can get down on myself and negative, and you know, I would say that she's been the biggest mentor for me in my personal mind, just staying positive and looking at negative things in a positive light, which is, I've never been that great at that. So having Alicia be looking at, hey, that's not necessarily like switch the way that you look at this negative situation, that's been a huge thing for me. I think that's the best way I can answer that.
Oh, I have so many ways to answer this question. So I was at an event a couple years ago, and who knows who Jamie Lima Kerr is? Yeah. Yes, she's beautiful, wonderful, I love her. And she asked a question, and she said, if you don't change what you're doing now, what is 5 years gonna look like? And I can guarantee you, I ran out into the hallway and I had a major breakdown. You can ask my husband. I called him crying, and he's like, I thought this was a good event. It is, it's great. It's making me challenge who I really am and what I really want, and am I doing what I really want to do. So I love the words from that, and I follow Tony Robbins and Ed Milet, and I'm manifesting being on his podcast, so one day I will be. And Jen Gottlieb, you know, all the wonderful people that we're all exposed to. But in the end, it comes down to my kids. They are my true inspiration. They had a hot mess of a mom. I had my son at 17. I lived in my car with him. I had no fucking idea what I was doing. I was trying to figure myself out. I was trying to raise myself, you know. And every day they just show up and they do what they do unapologetically. And I encourage that because I was not encouraged to be who I was. And just watching them grow and flourish and try new things and just really develop who they want to become by experiencing everything, whether it's a failure, whether they don't like something, whether they want to give up. I'm always in their corner and they are always in my corner. And my son actually just now texted me, "Go mom, go." They are my biggest cheerleaders and they know I am their biggest cheerleaders. And my personal why is because of them. But my big why is because I've seen the transformations that I've made in people, and I know what's possible, and I know how much happier people are, and I know the impact that they're gonna create on other people because they were able to do it.
Great job, guys. Does anybody have any good notes so far? I might need to steal somebody's notes because this is really good. So, what is one of the hardest things you've had to overcome in business, and what mindset got you past it?
Have any of y'all struggled?
Never.
Wow, I only saw like 3 hands. So tell me what you guys are doing, number one. No, I'm just, so the biggest thing that I've had to face is like myself, right? And I think maybe a lot of us could say that, maybe, right? And for me, what that meant was, I don't know, I didn't come from an entrepreneurial family. I came, like my stepfather taught me to build an amazing resume. So I have a fucking amazing resume that doesn't help me now. So I was building my resume, but I had this mental block when it came to sales. Like, it's like, okay, time to do sales, right? And I'm like, okay, now let me try to force this person in front of me to do something that I'm pretty sure they don't want to do. That was sales for me, right? And when I learned that that's not what it is, right? When I learned that what all sales is doing is transferring your excitement or whatever feeling you have about something you're passionate about onto somebody else and helping them to make the decision just based off of the information that they're receiving from you, right? That was an amazing thing. But the way that I learned that has nothing to do with like one of my mentors like forcing that thought in my brain. Instead, it was this practice. Have any of you read Psycho-Cybernetics?
We have Maxwell Maltz.
Yes, highly recommended. It was the first book. Think and Grow Rich, and then Psycho-Cybernetics kind of took me out of myself, and I realized I had this moment, or 20 moments rather, that I could envision my future, and that future could come to pass. And since doing that, I've been doing it maybe since July, and I started with Tony Robbins' primer. It's like this 15-minute meditation on YouTube, and it's a really, really amazing thing. And I started doing that pretty much every morning, except for the party weekends. We don't want to talk about those. But so I started doing that every morning, and then it kind of transitioned. I started seeing exactly what I wanted to be. You know, one of the things that I saw was myself speaking in front of people. And that thought just randomly came to me one day, where I was like, just sitting in my car, because I didn't have like a decent office space, just working in my car every day and meditating, and I saw myself on stage in front of all these people, and there's this fire that was lit that just helped me realize I want to help people. And so, and then I'm going to share this. Since doing that, I actually have a memory in my brain from something that hasn't happened yet. Because I was taught to go detailed into these visions, into what I want, right? And I have this memory, and I'm in North Carolina. Don't tell me or ask me why North Carolina. I've never been to North Carolina. I'm sitting, it's either morning, nighttime, or nighttime. Like, it's dark outside. I realize that this moment is happening, that my memory is about to occur, and I pull over to the side of the road, and I cue up 4 songs, all by Imagine Dragons.
Solid choice.
Yep. And anyway, I'm just gonna cut it short because I've been up here for too long. But I got detailed on what I hear, what I see, what I feel, what I taste, and what I smell. And I know I'm gonna be there, and I know when it's gonna be the moment that I'm there, and it's gonna be this amazing leather-smelling electric truck, and I'm gonna speed up super fast when the song "Natural" comes on by Imagine Dragons. It's gonna be amazing.
So one of the biggest things that I had to overcome, even just growing up, was the generational cycle. And I broke that, thankfully, at 18 when I did not have a child. My sister, who in here has a younger sister? Or younger sibling in general? Awesome, so majority of you. How many of you are like, ooh, competitive with them? None? Really? Oh my gosh.
Only
I am
Monopoly.
so competitive with my sister. I'm gonna tell you something right now. I'm so competitive with my sister. Me and her, we both decided that we were gonna break the generational cycle. So I unfortunately was unable to graduate from high school because I was making sure that they could. So I gave that up for her. Fine, you can have it. That's fine. Whatever. We get to college. She hits me up one day and I think it was November, and she was like, yeah, I'm graduating in May with my bachelor's. I was like, oh, let me call my counselor real quick. I called my counselor. I was like, hey, what degree do I have right now? And he goes, well, as long as you finish your bio, you can have an Associate of Arts. Done. Sign me up. I need to graduate before my sister. I can't do it otherwise. I can't. I have to be first. I'm going to be the one that breaks this generational curse. This is the only good thing about COVID. The only good thing. They had to separate the graduation classes. So everybody with a specific degree had to graduate on Friday. Everybody with a general arts degree got to graduate on Thursday. So I beat her for like 24 hours, and yes, it does count. 100%. So now we have another one, but it's fine. Of course, companies, I already got it. Started it, sorry, Val. But that was one of the things that I had to break through, was I had to break through that generational cycle of we didn't have anybody to look up to, neither of our parents. We were the first in our families to graduate high school, let alone get a degree. Now, moving forward, I have to break through still those limiting beliefs and those generational cycles of where do I go? Because I watched a video not too long ago on TikTok of all platforms, and it was like, no disrespect to my mother, but you raised me the best you could, but unfortunately you cannot teach me to be a billionaire because you are not a billionaire. And it hit me. I was like, wow, no. It's like my parents were not billionaires by any stretch of any imagination. But I want my son to have that road, not paved for him, but I want him to at least have that guide. And in order for him to have that guide, I have to start. And I have to start believing in myself that I am enough to push forward to make that path for my son. Does that make sense? Yeah. How many of you here are like, oh my God, yes. But so that was something that I had to get through. And I can tell you right now, it's not easy. It is not easy. You are always going to have that little voice in the back of your head that says, hey, you're not enough. You need to shut up. You can't have that, okay? You have to find your way and your why right from the get-go.
Thanks a lot, Jenna. Mine is very similar. So I was thinking back as the two other panelists were talking, and I was thinking back to when I was 19. I was suited up. I was going to my first listing appointment, and it was a big house. I can't remember exactly the house details, but it was an expensive house, one that I probably did not deserve to be in. And I was sitting with that homeowner, and I was talking through my plan of all the reasons they should hire me and why not the other person. And I left the house. I didn't get the listing. I fall on my face. And I was in the car, and I was like really disappointed. And I was like, gosh, I didn't have my script down. I didn't know what to say. I was stumbling. And then I got home, and I looked in the mirror. I'm like, they were never going to hire me, because my own personal belief was that they shouldn't hire me. And I was so concerned about who they were interviewing and what was the other guy gonna give, and what was their commission, and how many other sales did that guy have that I didn't? And so my biggest hurdle that I still face right today, like, and I've been selling real estate for, this will be my 10th year, I still struggle with the mindset of, am I worthy to earn this job? Like, should they go with me? And I think back to when I was in that first appointment, I wasn't sold on myself, and I could never possibly imagine having someone try to hire me when I wasn't sold on it myself. It's like, you're not confident in what you're talking about. How are they gonna get behind what you're saying? So the biggest hurdle I've faced is just continuing to believe, sell myself. Like, the hardest, I hear this all the time, like, the hardest sale you'll ever make is to yourself on the, whatever it is that you're doing to provide service or whatever it is. And I think it's something we probably all struggle with, am I right? Or am I the only guy in the room that does this? I can't imagine that's the case, but just getting behind what it is you're saying and getting a firm belief. And I heard, I think it was a year ago, Ed Milet did a podcast, and he was talking about the thermometer that we all face of your success and what you think you deserve and what you think you should get. And he talked about, if you're in the cages every day, studying film and practicing your swing and eating right and going to the gym and being the first one in the building and the last one out, like, you just start to get things that other people don't deserve because they're not putting in the effort and time that you are. And that was one of the things that I, like the Mr. Whatever It Takes, that's the thing that has been my one thing, is just going and doing more than everybody else is willing to do. And when you do that, it becomes a lot easier to sell yourself on the things that you're trying, like the things that you're trying to accomplish, or being able to sound like you believe in what you're saying because you've put in that extra work, or you've watched that extra film tape, or whatever it may be. So that's my answer to that.
So my husband and I own a welding business together that we started about 6 years ago in our backyard. And I really got called into the coaching about 5 years ago, and I dabbled in it a little. And I really had this calling to go full-time in it about a year ago. And I kept making up this excuse that I don't have enough time. There's not enough time. And then I really got real with myself, because why not? Why not? And I realized that I was using time as an excuse for the fear that I had, and I was actually feeling guilty for going after something I wanted. Does anyone else have this? Yeah, that sucks. Like, who feels guilty for wanting to put themselves first? A lot of us, moms especially. Yeah. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the vibrational chart, but there's 13 levels of it. And guilt and shame are at the bottom level of that, which means you are not sending vibrations out. Actually, you're reversing your vibrations, right? Yeah, you know that. And so when I finally addressed that I was feeling guilty, and it wasn't another excuse like not enough time, because quite frankly, I was only there part-time anyways. I would just hang around in the shop because I felt guilty. I was able to come to terms with myself and to really reaffirm that what I'm doing is going to create a better impact than me being in the shop. And so I chose to have a mantra now that whenever I start feeling guilty, which it does happen still, I remind myself that I choose success and I choose to create impact. And that's really what keeps me going and able to put my coaching first. Thank you.
Awesome, guys. Put your hands together for our panel so far. Woo! So if you guys didn't know, I'm a big fan of networking. Anybody know the term Rolodex? Yeah? If you guys don't know it, you guys should definitely. I'm putting together a big Rolodex of people, and I've had so much incredible opportunities to meet with amazing people, and I've started creating this big Rolodex. And so we're gonna give you guys the opportunity to network with these guys, follow them on social media, add them to your Rolodex. They're already crushing it with what they're doing right now, but they have extremely bright futures. And so you guys can stay in touch with them. So we're gonna start with Neil. Why should they follow you?
Okay, first of all, if you guys don't know Jordan, I just gotta give him a little shout out. He's a super networker. If any of you are familiar with what that is, like it blows my mind and like he's friends with some fairly amazing and powerful people already, but he knows like he has like 60 people in his brain that like he's constantly referring all of these people. If you guys want referrals, like talk to this guy and tell him what you're doing, because he's gonna put you somewhere in his brain and send you guys all the referrals. And then yeah, no problem, man. Yeah, I got you. You got the 20 bucks.
Give it up for
Oh, yeah.
Jordan, guys.
No.
59. So, I'm not gonna tell you why you should follow me. I don't like. I'm kind of like at the base of my entire journey, and the only reason that I would want any of you to follow me is to connect. I would really love to connect a little bit on a deeper level with each one of you and kind of find out a little bit more, because I think everybody is so unique. And each one of us can offer so much. And that is my only reason for you following me. But I think you should follow William Lamb. That's William.upgrd. Please follow him if you guys are trying to get a mental upgrade.
Oh, look, there I am. So, the reason to follow me is, how many of you remember your breakout yesterday with Minky? Oh, come on, I hope more than just like 5 of you do. You guys are putting me on the spot, you guys, everybody raise your hand. Do you remember the part where she was saying, what part of the alphabet are you guys in right now? I'm a J, okay? I'm a J. I'll go ahead and wait. I'm not quite in the very beginning, but I'm sure as hell not where I want to be. I want everybody to follow me because there are so many of you that are in this room right now that you are my Z. You are where I want to be. And there are so many in this room right now that I might be your Z. And I want to help you get to where I am as well. I know what it's like to not have any kind of like that guidance and things like that in the very, very beginning. Or maybe you just want to call me and be like, hey, how's Apollo doing? Yeah, let's do it. Let's go for a ride. Anybody have horses? Like, let's go. I'm so down.
I do.
Yeah, oh, I know. We're already going. Shh, we're already going. But so if you're ever on my...
At least it was on your wife. That's good.
Sorry, you're sleeping on the couch.
I swear to God.
So if you go onto my Instagram is definitely where I'm more active. I'm doing all my stories, so you can go on there. You can see my horses. You can see me and Minky hanging out in Cabo. My son is 8 years old. Unfortunately, he looks like he's 13 in this photo. So he is quite. And he is driving a Jeep in the next video. I didn't realize that one was on there. But yes, he is only 8 years old, despite his size. And then my Facebook, obviously, that was actually a photo that Miss Minky took and Miss Alicia set up. They kind of tricked me into that. But definitely follow me. I want to connect with you, even if it's just, throw something up and tell me, like, hey, what's your thoughts? How do you see this? I got you.
Can you clarify how they tricked you? Didn't you get engaged on that picture? Wasn't that the trip you got engaged?
Yes, I will explain that here.
How is that a trick? We planned the ultimate
I
surprise
know, you guys
proposal.
tricked me into
Good job.
planning the whole thing.
Oh,
though.
yeah. That was great. That was good.
It's fairly good up there. Nice. You guys can follow me if you'd like. I'd love to connect with all of you. I don't know anybody in the room, so I'd love to change that. I post stuff about real estate. I post stuff about my family. I also am a horse guy, so we go out and ride all the time. So you'll see dogs and horses and fun. And I'd love to be in everybody's here's life if I can be, and help in any way if there's anything I can do to inspire or talk real estate or talk fun, whatever it may be. So would love to connect with all of you guys.
Who here already follows me on social? Yeah, I'm a social butterfly. I love people. I love to love on people. I love people loving on me. I'm gonna tell you one thing about social media. You can use it in 2 ways. You can use it for the positive or the negative. And if you have negative people on your feed, there's this beautiful button called unfollow. Do it. It's gonna make your life so much better because you're not gonna be in somebody else's bullshit. I always post stuff on confidence, how to build your confidence. It's in very easy ways. It's like, hey, do something good for yourself. Here's an inspirational quote, but actually apply it in your life. I have a lot of people who join my confidence challenges, and I would love for all of you to join it because we could all use a little more confidence in our life, and a little more positivity, and a little more uplifting and upbringing, and yeah, I like to have fun. That's who I am. I'm very flowy, I'm very fun, and who I am here is exactly who I am on social media, and you will see that.
All right, guys, give it up for your panel again. You guys want to stand up for the bow?
I want to give Jordan a big clap as well. Y'all can go ahead and walk on.